Well, let's bring SABC News correspondent Ross Cullen to give us the latest on the Climate Finance Summit in Paris. Ross, good afternoon. We've heard some sentiments coming in the past few days. All right, I believe Ross is frozen. Let's see how we can get him back on the line. Ross, all right, I believe you're back. Welcome. Thank you for your time with us. Perhaps you can give us a wrap on the matters unfolding. Also, as we look at some of the outcomes of the summit, including seeking global finance reform.
Yeah, we're looking at different outcomes and we're trying to see that if there is going to be a conclusion at all. We know that there have been some communiques released already. There was the Coalition to Protect Finance and Natural Capital, that is focusing on finance and investments that involve forests and different biodiversity aims and schemes. A new economic model plan to try to support countries that have some of our most precious forests, like countries in Central Africa, for example. New funding structures have also agreed to invest in carbon reserves, and one of the points that they did make in these communiques that have been released mostly by France overnight ahead of the conclusion of the summit, which happened this lunchtime, the summit coming to an end officially, they did focus a lot on local collaboration, making sure that local people in the countries that are affected in the global south are benefiting from these new funding models.
Ross, what were the reactions from the Western countries in response to some of the ideas that had been put forth, including demanding action, putting money on the table, perhaps also looking at some of the other issues that came through, including taxation on fossil fuel profits, financial actions to raise climate funds? Walk us through what was their response to those ideas.
Well, in terms of Western leaders, Emmanuel Macron and Olaf Scholz were the two highest profile Western leaders. A lot of Western countries sent international development ministers, sent foreign ministers or finance ministers. In terms of the heads of state, we did see more of those coming from Latin America, from Africa, from Asia, and certainly there were a lot of leaders coming from Africa. We know that Emmanuel Macron has got a bilateral meeting set up this afternoon with Macky Sall of Senegal, with William Ruto of Kenya, to name just two. In terms of the Western models and the Western leaders, they know that this is a position of deep respect for countries of the global south and issues that are dominant in emerging economies that can be solved or alleviated at the very least if international companies get on board, if sovereign wealth funds get on board, if Western countries and Western economies improve the structures that financial capital is making its way to different schemes in emerging economies, and also by trying to link those schemes together. So the battle for climate change is not different from the battle to reduce poverty. The battle to protect biodiversity is not different from the battle to improve education. The battle to try to reduce plastic and emissions is no different from the battle to try to improve access rights for women and girls. They have been the main messages about how to try to connect all of these issues that we are facing in the world today.
No, absolutely. Some of the view that money isn't lacking, but political will. What's also been unearthed on that front? What has been the reaction from environmentalists about the summit?
Well, in fact, if you just excuse me 1 sec, I know that I did just see a reaction coming in from Oxfam, from the international charity, and they have given a communique saying that, and excuse me just for reading a little bit, they have said that they are denouncing the lack of political will in terms of what's coming from rich countries to redistribute their wealth and their power in favour of the poorest populations on the planet. They have said that there is an abyss in terms of the funds that are needed from the West for the global South. They are deploring this summit, which has failed to bring about a response at the highest level for the colossal needs of countries from the global south to face up to climate change and also to provide their populations with essential services such as health. That's a quotation from Cécile Duflot. She's the Director General of Oxfam here in France. So that is a response that has come in just 10 minutes ago in terms of some of the response that we are seeing from some of the critics of Western policy when it comes to supporting the global south.
Ross Cullen, thank you for your time with us here on the SABC.